Nurture and support begins in 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome back to Nurture and Support, our recommendation podcast where we share all of the awesome. This is episode 93, and I am Mel at Karmic9 on Twitter, and we have a special guest tonight. Back for another round of recommendations is Mike.
Hello,
Hi, Mike.
Thank you guys for having me back on.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.
And that was Kelly.
Yes. At KELOYTHUL on Twitter. I'm glad Mike's here.
We are glad Mike's here, because it's less work for us. We don't have to think that hard.
Thanks, guys.
Because Mike's so bright and cheery all the time.
I do what I can.
Sunshine.
Oh, so we're just going to get right on into recommendations tonight. And I'm cheating this week because I am sort of giving an update on a previous recommendation, but it's a recommendation that changes constantly. It's a website called HumbleBundle.com. And currently...
I was just thinking of HumbleBundle. Just
Were
recently.
you?
I was.
See, I actually got scared for a second when you said you were going to revisit an old one. I was like, oh, it's the clip show. You know how they would do that with sitcoms when they ran out of stuff and they needed an extra episode?
Yeah.
Oh,
I haven't run out of stuff, but this is time sensitive, and I wanted more people to be aware of it because they may not know about it. So, when this episode airs, there will be about 5 days left to get in on this very special Humble Book Bundle. So when you go to HumbleBundle.com, there's some tabs at the top, one that says Humble Bundle, one that says Weekly Bundle, and one that says Books Bundle. Click on that Books Bundle tab, and there is a phenomenal bundle right now that is Neil Gaiman Rarities. He has been a recommendation of mine in the past, and Humble Bundle has also been a recommendation of mine in the past, so you're getting double updates today. This collection is basically, like it says, rarities of his that have been dug out of his attic, according to him, and of course digitized and put up for everyone's enjoyment. These are things that are not currently available for people to get. If you were able to get them in print, you would be paying a lot of money for them. So I'll go through what's currently up. If you're not familiar with Humble Bundle, it's a website where they put together specialized bundles around a particular theme, and you basically pay what you want. Part of the money goes to charity, and you get to decide as part of your payment process how much of the money goes to charity, how much goes to Humble Bundle, and how much goes to the makers of whatever products are actually in the bundle. So this particular bundle is going to support the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund and the Moth. And if you want to know more about either of those charities, you just click on them on the webpage and it will give you a little bit more information about them. One of the other things that they do is as the bundle gets closer to ending, they usually are adding at least a couple more books or whatever the bundle particularly is. So they don't have all of the books up yet as to what is going to come out, but when you buy the bundle, you get everything else that comes out. Now, the kicker here is as the bundle goes on, the average purchase price that people are paying what they want goes up. And there are always special things included in the bundle that you have to pay over that average to actually get. So right now, this is really pretty much of a steal because they have set the price for the special items at you have to pay $15 or more. The actual average price of the bundle right now is at $19.53. Now that is way higher than it normally is because Neil Gaiman's name is on this and people went crazy. This is the biggest selling bundle I think they have ever had. So let me tell you a little bit about the books that are included in the special price that you have to pay over $15 to get. The first one is, I believe it's the very first book that Neil Gaiman ever wrote, and it's about Duran Duran, a band that I like. So it's called Duran Duran.
Must Die. right?
No. Come on, Union of the Snake, Wild Boys. You gotta love that. Barbarella? Electric Barbarella. So it's a rare and never before republished debut book. This was his first book. It has never been republished since it originally issued. And actually, I saw on Twitter just the other day that Simon Le Bon put the word out too about this being there. So.
Tweeting from his wheelchair.
He is not. They're still touring.
In a wheelchair.
No, they're not. Anyway, so that's one of the specially priced books. The other one is the manuscript found in a milk bottle. It's never before been reprinted. It was a short story of his. There are also some poems by him and his daughter when she was very young, writing to him. And then there's a little gold book of ghastly stuff, which was some short fiction that he had written that's out of print, and it's not available any other way than this bundle right now. So the rest of them are just things that you, if you're a fan of his, that you may not know about, or you may have been looking for and not been able to find. And these are digital versions, y'all. These aren't going to be actual paper versions of any of these things, but it's a lot of cool stuff. He is great. It's a lot of his graphic novel work. If you're a fan of all of that he has done, Sandman is totally awesome series. So that's not specifically what he's got going on here, but there's a lot of other things that he did with Frank Miller, which are all pretty cool. So if you're a fan of Neil Gaiman and you actually could get away with paying $15 to get everything in this bundle right now, and also support a little bit of charity and get some cool stuff over at HumbleBundle.com on the Books tab, and you've got about 5 more days before this bundle ends. So you need to go check it out. There's a little timer at the top of the page that tells you how much time is left.
So we also discovered he did some work with another individual that's been mentioned on the show basically every week, Alice Cooper.
He did.
Any of that in there?
No, there's not. No, because that one's actually, you can buy that one in several different formats. Yep. These are basically all out-of-print ones that are rare. And that Alice Cooper comic that Neil Gaiman did is available out there on places like Amazon. So, anyway, it's cool. I wanted to tell people about it. Touches on several recommendations that we've done. Don't miss your chance if you're a fan to get in on this.
Awesome. Great recommendation. Sure hope somebody continues the trend. Mike.
I feel like there's a lot of pressure put on me now.
Yeah, just if you're not good.
See, right in the beginning, I was like, oh, it's a clip show. I can phone it in. But then, but that's awesome. I'm going to go right from this onto that site and order that. So now I feel like there's an intense amount of pressure on me to follow it up. So I'm thinking, like, should I change it? Should I, play to you guys and, like, recommend something you guys are a part of? Like, you should listen to the Nurture and Support podcast.
Someone should recommend that.
I feel like they're just stealing my recommendation now, but all right, that's fine.
Okay.
So I'm going to recommend, are either of you guys familiar with Little Bits?
No.
I don't think so.
Teeny bit. Kind of maker-related, sort of?
Sort of, yeah. So just give you a little bit of backstory. In my mind, I can build things. In real life, I can't. I have no skills of putting things together or making things happen. So, but I get ideas for things. Like a couple years back, I had this idea of building, and this is the idea, the form comes before the functionality of it. Like I had this idea, like if I could electrify water and somehow stick my hand in electrified water and it would play synthesizer notes, that would look awesome live. So here's the problem with that. I don't know how to build things. I don't know how to make instruments, and I'm not an electrician.
I think you should just try.
Just try. So here was the thing with it. So I pulled up like 3 or 4 YouTube videos about like electrical work and being an electrician and stuff like that. And so I found the one that was like the most watched. It had like 5 million views or something like that, but it was like 7 minutes long. And that is just way too much time to put into something. So I got through a solid. That might
save your life.
Yeah. Okay. I got through a solid like 45 seconds of it, and I was like, no, I'm just doing this. So I got a circuit board, I got some wires, some alligator clips, and I just did it. And luckily I didn't die, but I didn't know why I didn't die. Like it wasn't like because I took safety precautions. Like I just stumbled upon a way to not murder myself doing this. So
So I'm sorry. I got a piece of, so it's a 7-minute video. You make it through 45 seconds. So basically you got to plug this into the wall.
Right. I was just like, oh my God, it's not over yet. I'm just doing it.
Oh, God.
What's the worst that could happen?
I'm amazed you're here to tell this story.
Yes.
So I did it though, and I was like, this is great. I want to do other stuff like this. But of course that was dumb luck that I didn't kill myself. Like it's not safe. Don't do it. And like I posted pictures of it online and everything and video and all that stuff. And like I hashtagged it like, don't do this at home. It's way too much fun and stuff like that. So, you know, being safe and letting people know that I'm just, you know, awesome at building stuff and they're not. So after that excursion and realizing how lucky I was that I didn't die, I was like, all right, there has to be a better way to make things from my stupid ideas without maybe killing myself or burning the place down. So I started looking around online, and around that same time, I got really into analog synthesizers because I had played digital synthesizers prior to that. And I started messing around with analog synthesizers and got really into playing specifically Korg analog synthesizers. And Korg was working with this company called Little Bits. So when I checked out Little Bits and the stuff they were doing, they make these kits where you can build your own machines, devices, prototypes for things, all using electronics, but everything sticks together with magnets. So there's no soldering, there's no actual electrical work on your end.
I just bought a soldering iron, damn it.
See? There's none of the dangerous stuff that I did the first time around that had I probably watched a couple more minutes of that YouTube video would have been like, don't do this. You know, don't electrify water and stick your hands in it and think it's going to be awesome. It was. Do it.
Yeah, who could expect that as any risk factor whatsoever?
Right. I learned later that, because I was talking to an electrician, that like it has something to do with like amperage or something. I don't know. I zoned out when he started saying big words and stuff like that, but apparently I did something right. But I knew I couldn't keep doing that. So I checked out Little Bits, and Little Bits had specifically a Korg kit so that you could piece together your own analog synthesizers to get the sounds that you want. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the old school analog synthesizers, like from the 70s and the big rock operas, where a synthesizer was the size of like a wall. And if you wanted, you had to piece it together, and you had to understand wiring, electricity, and soldering, as we said. And obviously, I don't have the patience, the skill, or the brain power to learn any of that stuff. So this was perfect for me. So I'm able to buy these little pieces and stick them together and make sounds. But it's not just music stuff, though. They have kits to build all kinds of things. They have projects that they put up there for skill levels, everything from little kids who are trying to learn how to put things together and try to learn, you know, electrical engineering and things like that, up to like serious, you know, innovative projects where you can prototype designs and things like that without having to actually learn stuff, which is against that. So as we've already established, but no, like people who are a lot smarter than me could take these and do something that's probably not as cool to look at, but way safer and actually beneficial to humanity with this stuff. Or little kids can make toys for themselves, or idiots like me can not kill themselves. So I'm a huge fan of Little Bits. And so much so, like I've seen some people online talk about it like, you know, oh, it kind of looks cool when maybe this is just a toy or anything like that. Like I've used these in shows, and they sound amazing. You can do incredible things with them. I really highly recommend to anybody that they check this out. Anybody who's ever wanted to make something and can't watch a 7-minute video about electricity, this is perfect for you. And even if you do know that stuff, you're actually going to be able to do more with it. But you can be at my skill level of risking death because you can't watch a YouTube video all the way up to like a serious engineer and still get something out of this product.
Cool. That sounds like definitely something we would like.
Yeah, I think so. I was going to get a little more judgy on Mike about this, but then I started to reflect that I'm not sure I ever made it all the way through my Forge video. You know, it's like, you know, I think I might have skipped through that, but
see,
yeah, fair enough. So excellent. That sounds really cool. So is the website littlebits.com then?
I believe it's littlebits.com, but I'm sure if you just Google Little Bits, it'll come up, and you can go back and edit in just like voiceover on top of me. So it sounds like I knew the website off the top of my head in case it's not littlebits.com.
Yeah, well, there will be a link in the blog post, everybody.
Yeah, link in the blog post. Maybe we can get a hold of Matt Shivers and have him do the big voice.
The voiceover.
And anybody who wants to electrocute themselves to make music, I can tell you how to do that too. You have to get in touch with me offline for that.
That's right.
Yeah, that's bonus material, y'all.
That's not something I think I should probably say, like, go ahead, do this, kids, it's awesome. Because I think it's just luck that I didn't die. Again, someone tried to explain to me why it worked, and it was just like, words. So.
Excellent.
Oh, cool.
Oh, it's a fascinating world you live in, sir. All right. Well, 2 very strong recommendations, and so mine won't suck. So I figured this is a great show. We already have 2 really good recommendations, and the last one's okay. So we'll be all right there. But I actually really enjoy my recommendation. It's on Netflix, and shocker, it's not a doc. Well, I guess it's kind of a documentary, maybe. I don't know. It's a story. It's a historical story about Pablo Escobar, and it's called Narcos. It was a Netflix original, 10 episodes. They put it all out like they do the House of Cards deal and all that. And you get 10 episodes where you get to learn a lot more about Pablo Escobar and Colombia, and politics in Colombia, and the police in Colombia, and how selling cocaine was a highly profitable business. Very profitable business.
I think you said was, like it isn't today.
For Pablo, it's no longer profitable.
Well, but you said it like that was a thing. Like, did you know at one time there was this drug called cocaine, and people sold it for money?
Money, can you believe? Well, so fair point. One might have interpreted how I phrased that, but there were parts of this story that we have moved beyond. For example, and I don't want to spoil it too much for you, but this is just a really good example that I just found this fascinating to watch. In the early days, when they had discovered, hey, this cocaine thing, which we were selling to people in Colombia for a little bit, we can sell to Americans in Miami for a whole lot.
USA!
Yeah, we're number 1. But the trick is, of course, is to get the cocaine into the United States. Well, early on, before there were other safety precautions, you could do things like Pablo's mother, Pablo's mother, stitched 6 large pockets in the back of a sport jacket, and they slid packets of cocaine in the back of the sports jacket, and the dude walked into the plane wearing a jacket full of cocaine and could kind of travel across there. When it was like, there's waving, oh yeah, come on in, you're good, you're going. You just kind of flipped through the days before. So seeing
somebody else who had a better mom than me.
That's right. It was kind of a very interesting family relationship. But I don't know how familiar either of you are with Pablo Escobar, but he was
but it sounds like he was maybe in Miami Vice. I did watch that Miami Vice, so I know everything I need to know, right?
Yeah, pretty. That's on the storefront side. The delivery. This is more the process to manufacture and get it distributed. So you learn about a couple. The Medellin cartel was basically the group of smugglers that they had put together to do this business. They actually got to the point because they didn't like extradition, because being pulled into the United States was not good. They'd rather deal with Colombia, where they could bribe judges and kind of do some things. And so they were fighting extradition, and they wanted the Colombian government not to promote it. So they actually formed a consortium of drug smugglers.
A union.
A union. That was like Los Extraditos, and they had a logo. They hired a PR firm that came in and made them a logo, and they used to kind of communicate. So it was just the strangest thing. But it's just a really fascinating story. You get kind of the story of 2 DEA agents from the United States who are down there. It's a little dicey to be American and down in Colombia. During this time, the United States' biggest concern with Colombia was not drugs. Well, it was communism. And so if the drug lords were kind of helping you with the communist thing, that's okay. You guys are fine. we'll be okay with that. So Noriega, some of the involvement there, some of the same thing. Yeah, so we were oversampling on communism bad, drugs, I guess it's okay. And so you get
We'll take the coke, you keep the commies.
That's right. And, so you get
Pretty sure that's Jeb Bush's campaign slogan.
tonight.
It should be. Wait, no, copyright me. You can't take that. I'm running for president.
So I was waiting because there's only like about 2 people that aren't. So it's nice. It's nice that you're in there. But so it's a really well crafted story. There, each episode's probably around 45 to 55 minutes long. You get kind of the story of how he ran his empire, how they dealt with issues. The scary thing is how they dealt. He had a philosophy which was silver or lead. I would either pay you money and you'd stop doing what you do to bother me, or I would kill you. And these are your choices. You either gave them silver or you gave them lead. And that seemed to be a very effective mission statement for Mr. Escobar. And the thing that I got actually jumpy on as I got basically 2 episodes into it is anytime there was a conversation where there were 3 people in a room and 2 people started to walk out, I was just starting to brace myself to say, oh, now they're going to turn around and shoot, because it was just constant violence coming at any unexpected moment, and that's just how they resolved a lot of things. But it's just kind of fascinating to see that world. Now this is, it's made for entertainment, so I'm sure some of the factors are dialed up. But what is true is that he eventually negotiated a deal with the Colombian government to say, okay, I will turn myself in. I will plead guilty to 1 charge of drug trafficking. I will build my own prison. Neither the police nor the military can come within 3 kilometers of my prison, and then I will serve my time in my prison. Oh, by the way, I will hire the guards for my prison that I go in. And it's called La Cathedral, and they actually did it. And
wow.
So it...
How long did he sentence himself for?
It was, I believe it was going to be around a 3 to 5 year stay, but things evolved as I went through. But it's a pretty fascinating thing. And the other thing, this is the one thing I didn't know about him, is that he had early on was actually for most of his time was very popular with the less affluent people of Colombia, because early in his early days he was kind of cultivating a little bit of this Robin Hood type of thing, where he was building schools and giving money to people and doing a lot of things in the impoverished things. And he actually he didn't run, and I don't know exactly how Colombian politics work because I barely understand how our politics work, but somebody was running for Congress, and apparently in Colombia, whoever runs for Congress has a backup. There's a substitute that kind of runs with them, so that, I guess because probably politicians in Colombia get killed a lot, and so they needed to have a roll-in option. And so Pablo said, well, I won't get the media scrutiny. If I'm a candidate, there'll be a certain level of media scrutiny. I'll just be this guy's backup. But in all this,
And then I'll shoot him in the back.
Well, yeah, I think then he's silver or lead. What do you think? So, and you can kind of tell this guy said, yeah, vote for me so that I can step down immediately and keep Pablo happy.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though, you were saying about how he built up sort of this Robin Hood reputation, because I think it's important. A lot of our media only shows the negative side of the drug trade. And I think it's important that something's showing the positive give back to the community part of drug trafficking.
The drug-based, the drug-funded after-school programs are really outstanding. And,
like, we should see PSAs and stuff, like a little kid playing in a playground. They're like, I could be out on the streets right now, but instead I'm in this playground. Thanks, heroin.
Yeah. Well, he was also probably, giving kids jobs as, delivery people. Couriers.
Yep. Yeah, he was. Yeah, well. So multifaceted, but kind of stern. I'll give that. But so it's kind of interesting to see the interplay between how the United States had to interact with Colombia, how the military interacted with the police, how the police interacted with Pablo, and all of these pieces through there. And as I watched this, I was going back and kind of trying to read various historical documents. I don't know if you're familiar with a site called Wikipedia, but it provides a lot of very helpful fact-based information for you to. But it seemed to track as I looked across a couple things. A lot of what was depicted. Some characters might have been pulled together to simplify part of the story, but all the big rocks of this story are basically true. Because like when they had this, I'm going to build my own prison, I'm like, no, that didn't happen. And Red Up's like, well, I guess it did. So
Columbia. So was this like an actual documentary, or was this like a slightly fictionalized like TV show where they had actors playing the parts and it was a whole story, like a regular TV show, or was it a documentary?
It was not a documentary. It was based, based on all of this, but it was actors the main character is Steve Murphy from the United States. He's one of the 2 DE agents that came down. He actually does some voiceover narration kind of what his experience was for all of those things. But it's a story.
Okay. Brilliant. Yeah. Okay.
From there. Wagner Mora plays Pablo and just did an excellent job. And just, after one episode, I was just scared every time I saw him. I was like, oh, God, he's going to get me next. But then also Pedro Pascal was in it, as well as there are 2, Pena was his character's name, and he and Steve Murphy were partners. And they were both great. Pedro was awesome, but Pedro played the Red Viper in Game of Thrones.
Cool.
Oberyn Martell, and that was such a strong character, and kind of and I kept waiting for Tywin Lannister to show up or something. I couldn't detach. That's the Game of Thrones guy, but he's really good too. But it's well acted, well written. It's not for the faint of heart. There's a lot of people that get the lead side of the silver or lead scenario, but it's just the interplay between the politicians and the countries and everything else is pretty fascinating. So
that was like his house motto: silver or lead.
Silver or lead, yes. House Escobar, which I don't know where that was. Where was that? But it's good stuff. So I think it's worth a look. It's on Netflix, 10 episodes. I think you'll enjoy it.
Just to clarify, you're recommending the show, not doing coke, right?
Yeah, yes. While that clarification was completely unnecessary, what I am recommending is people in the comfort of their own home.
Not high on coke.
No, yes. With only legal substances around them.
Wink.
Paying for their cable. Wink. Paying for their cable. Or paying for their Netflix. Watch Narcos on Netflix. You
can drink a Diet Coke if you've been really good, but that's it.
That's it.
As close to cocaine as you can get. Cool. Well, I think we had a lot of good recommendations this episode. Pretty cool. So at this point, I think we'll hand it over to Matt Shivers. Did we have anything to tell Matt this week, Kelly?
Nope. I got nothing to say to Matt this week.
Okay. Well, I'll say, Matt, you're awesome. Thank you. And he's going to tell everybody how to reach us online and on Twitter and everywhere else. And we'll be back next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
You can contact us on our website, nurtureandsupport.net, or email us at nurtandsupp@gmail.com. That's NURTANDSUPP@gmail.com. Or tweet us at nurtandsupp on Twitter. You can also catch Nurture and Support on YouTube. Just search Nurture and Support or Kelly Toole.
Please don't go. The drones need you. They look up to you. Nurturing and supporting Journey.